Hello guys, what is up? My name is Arvin M. Jamarlin and welcome to the 5th episode of History and Legal Basis of Education. So stay tuned and fasten your seatbelt. Now guys, I'm pretty sure you've done watching the education in the ancient times, in the Spanish period, the American period, and the Japanese period. And I'm sure you've done answer the questions there. Unless you skip the video and choose to watch this video first. But it's okay, there's no hard feelings about that. Hopefully. Well, but anyways, in this video, we're going to discuss the education under the Commonwealth Government. And quick disclaimer guys, I'm not a historian or a lawyer here. Whatever is discussed in this video is purely come from the research I've done. So please, bear with me, okay? Okay, cool. But before we discuss the education under the Commonwealth Government, you might be wondering, Arvin, what the is Commonwealth Government anyway? So, here it is. Let me give you a very short fairy tale. Once upon a time in a land far, far away from here, the United States of America had a colony in a distant land across the Pacific Ocean full of spices, riches, and gold. It's the Philippines. Shh, it's only our secret. Not until in the 1930s when the US Congress proposed the Hair Horse Cutting Act to their dearest US President. Yo, Mr. President, sir. Good morning.
Yes, Mr. Congressor. How may I help you?
We in the Congress propose this bill for one of our colonies, Mr. President, sir. And we want you to sign this bill right now. This is going to be very, very awesome.
You're gonna propose me with this bill. What is this Hair Horse Cutting Act anyway?
Sir, this bill is going to be very, very awesome. You see, we're gonna give our Filipino citizens their own independent nation.
Well, that's great, man. That's actually great. Because Filipino people are one of our dearest friends and they deserve to have their own independent nation.
Yes, sir, isn't that great? And we can still have our military and naval bases there, and we can still impose our tariffs and quotas over the exports too, making the United States of America great again.
What? You're planning to give Filipino people their own independent nation, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And you're still claiming that you'll be sovereign over theirs.
Correction, sir. We are setting free our Filipino citizens and gonna give them their own independent nation, and when they needed us, we will be there. And we need them too, especially their quotas and tariffs for their exports too.
God damn it, soldier. You're proposing that you're gonna give them independence, and yet you are claiming that you'll be sovereign over theirs. How can you justify this kind of act? Do I look like a monkey to you?
But sir, it's just a little misunderstanding. You know, what I mean by that is...
Shut that mouth, soldier. Maybe you can fool your mom and kiss her with that sweaty lips of yours, but you can't fool me. Now get out of my office.
But sir, it's...
Get out of here, now!
And the US Congress only received nothing but failure and veto from the US President. But they are not willing to give up. We in the Congress is gonna pass this bill whether he likes it or not. We don't need his approval. Because of this incident, the US President proposed and passed the Tidings-McDuffie Act or the Philippine Independence Act, which will allow the establishment of Commonwealth Government with a 10-year transition period to full independence. And the Philippine Constitution or the 1935 Constitution was signed by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. And the Philippines and the USA lived happily ever after. Not until the Japanese came and ruined the one-year-old Commonwealth Government and its exile to United States of America. But no worries, after World War II, the Commonwealth Government returned to Philippines. Whew. And the Philippines live happily ever after. For real. For real? You can now say goodbye to those good old days when you can snip that $1 in your pocket and you, my friend, is a US citizen. Because now, $1 is almost equivalent as 50 pesos and the Philippine government is as corrupt as my grandma's century-old socks. It sucks. Gross. And that, my friend, is the history of education. Let's proceed to the education under the Commonwealth Government, what it feels like to be a student in this generation, and let's see how Pedro respects his good old teacher in his good old times. Let's go! The first one is the Commonwealth Act number 586 or the Education Act of 1940, which states that 7 years of elementary school will be reduced to 6 years. Good news for those students who want to feel that high school puppy love vibe. It also states that grade 1 has a compulsory attendance. So if you have a children who had a lazy bones in the morning, please help them get up because dropout is a trending thing in the good old 1940s. It also states that double single class session, a class with one class in the morning and one class in the afternoon, will be implemented to accommodate more learners. In our present generation, CCNHS, main campus, Rojas, and any other high school schools had adopted this kind of approach to accommodate more brilliant and awesome students just like you and everybody else. Next thing, we have a Commonwealth Act number 1 or the Natural Defense Act of 1935, which states that preparatory military training shall be given to the youth from grade 1 to college days. This is important because the country that you're living in is just like a baby in those good old times, and you have the responsibility to help it when it needed you. Now let's jump in the 1935 Constitution, particularly in the Article 13, Section 5, which states that all schools should develop moral character, civic conscience, personal discipline, and vocational efficiency. Kabataan, karapat-dapat lamang na ikaw ay maging disiplinado, marunong magtrabaho at hindi tatamad-tamad, huwag puro ML, at higit sa lahat, masunuring mamamayan ng bansang Pilipinas. Lastly, we have the Article 18, Section 3 of the 1935 Constitution, which states that one of the existing Filipino dialects will be dedicated as national language of the Philippines. Other than that, you can still speak that Despacito Española. Hola mi amigos, ¿cómo estáis? Buenas noches, mi señorita, mi amor. And you can still speak that American accent of yours just like the good old friends in Texas and Colorado. But unfortunately, when Tagalog win the bidding, wala tayong magagawa kundi managalog mga ginigiliw kong mamamayan ng bansang Pilipinas. I've also linked down below all the list of the minor laws under the education of the Commonwealth Government. They are the repetition of the laws we have already mentioned earlier. So if you have a precious time searching for them, reading them, then do it. It'll be much, much, much appreciated. So that is all for this episode of History and Legal Basis of Education. We are about to say goodbye, but let me ask you a very awesome, not cracking question. Do you agree to adopt the Natural Defense Act of 1935 in our present generation? Why and why not? I know, this is not a typical video that you're expecting, huh? But if you find this video informative as well as entertaining, then make sure to leave a reaction down below. It will be much appreciated if you do. You can leave like, haha, wow, angry, and any other emoji that you can find. Just make sure to leave them down below. And I hope you had a wonderful day. My name is Arvin and Jamarolin. Thank you very much for watching this video. Goodbye everyone, and adios, mi amigos.